The meeting was a reflective experience for Minho. Park asked structured questions about project planning, commercial management, and construction coordination, areas Minho had once specialized in but had not handled closely for years. He had spent so long working at a high level that he had lost contact with the practical details of the field. "I'll be straightforward with you, Minho. Park said as their discussion ended. "Your professional background is notable, but the situation is specific. This is a smaller company. We must maintain consistency in how we present ourselves to clients and associates." "I understand," Minho replied, keeping his tone steady. "I'm prepared to begin again. I'll take any available position." Park studied him carefully. "There is a senior associate opening. It involves on-site coordination, client communication, and document control. The annual compensation is 80 million won. 80 million won. In the past, Minho had spent more than that on a single business trip. Still, he nodded with sincerity. "I'll accept. One condition," Park continued. "You'll work steadily and re-establish your professional standing through effort, not visibility. No promotional events or external representation for now. You're here to focus on consistent results and personal development." Minho agreed. He recognized this as an opportunity to restart his career through patience and steady progress. He moved into a simple but comfortable apartment in Mapo-gu, quite different from his former home in Gangnam. The neighborhood was peaceful, mostly filled with young workers and families. Every day, it reminded him how much his lifestyle had shifted. Each morning, he took the subway to Park and Associates. He spent his hours reviewing renovation schedules, coordinating client requests, and managing the daily workflow that kept the company organized. The tasks were modest but meaningful, far removed from the leadership-focused role he once had. His co-workers were courteous but reserved. They all knew about his earlier career path. He served as a quiet reminder that professional achievement without awareness could fade over time. The most difficult part was not the financial change or reduced status. It was accepting that his earlier choices had shaped the outcome. In the evenings, on his way home, Minho often passed landmarks from his previous life: buildings he had helped design, restaurants he once frequented, and districts where his name had been well known. Occasionally, he came across updates about Jia's continued progress. Her company had been highlighted in Korean Business Weekly. She had expanded into 3 additional cities and joined the Seoul Economic Development Council, the same organization that had once sought Minho's insights and now collaborated with her instead. The person he had once overlooked had become everything he had only appeared to be: skilled, recognized, and valued by her community. Meanwhile, he continued rebuilding quietly, applying lessons he now understood more deeply. One rainy evening, Minho sat alone in a small cafe in Hongdae, observing droplets slide down the window. It was the anniversary of the event that had redirected his life completely. His phone vibrated with a message from his younger sister, Choi Mi-jin, one of the few relatives who still reached out. "Appa, I saw an article about Hyun Jia-sai's company winning the Seoul Innovation Award. Her children were there. They looked mature and confident. Have you ever considered contacting her?" Minho stared at the message for a moment. Had he thought about it? Every single day for the past 2 years. But what could he truly say? "I wish I had valued you more. I wish I had been present when it mattered. I wish I had understood earlier what was truly important." No sentence felt sufficient to describe the weight of Minho's past decisions. He typed his reply carefully. "They've built a good life on their own. The most respectful thing I can do now is allow that to continue. They are doing well. That has always been the truth I didn't recognize before." Mi-jin responded almost instantly. "Maybe in time, Appa, when the moment is right. But I'm proud of how much you've grown. You're becoming wiser every day." Minho placed the phone down and looked back at the rain outside. Improving himself, that was his focus now. He could learn from his earlier experiences, work with consistency, treat others with consideration, and continue to move forward with integrity. He thought about Tae-jun and Jae-min, his twin sons, now 12 years old, growing into capable and confident students. Their progress reminded him of how time continued, bringing both change and opportunity for reflection. Minho understood that personal growth often required recognizing where priorities had once been misplaced. He had once believed success meant visible achievements and recognition, but over time, he realized that success was best measured in commitment, reliability, and the quality of one's relationships. By that measure, Gia's journey represented true accomplishment. She had built stability, trust, and purpose. Minho, meanwhile, was learning what genuine progress truly meant. While Minho continued his quiet rebuilding, Gia's professional development reached new heights. 2 years after the interrupted wedding event, Gia stood before the tall glass windows of her new executive office on the 30th floor of Marine Tower in Seoul. Elegance Events Korea had expanded rapidly, operating in Seoul, Busan, Daegu, and Jeju Island, serving clients throughout Korea and across parts of Asia. The polished nameplate on her desk read Gia, President and CEO, surrounded by framed awards, Seoul Innovation in Business, Korean Women Entrepreneurs Excellence Recognition, and commendations from the Ministry of Small and Medium Business. At 38, Gia represented professional fulfillment, achieving meaningful results through effort, teamwork, and integrity. Sajing Nim Mi-sun said, standing in the doorway with the day's agenda. The Seoul Business Forum photographer is here for your profile session, and the interviewer from Elle Korea would like to confirm your time for this afternoon's feature on outstanding business leaders. Please have the photographer wait in the conference room, Gia replied. And remind me I'll need to leave by 3:30 for Taejun and Jaemin's scholarship event. The Seoul Business Forum profile was titled Building Futures, How Korean Leaders Are Redefining Achievement. Gia appeared alongside technology innovators and senior executives as one of the country's most successful independent entrepreneurs. Her recognition extended beyond numbers. It reflected transformation through consistency, professionalism, and perseverance. The Elle Korea interview focused on leadership and character. Gia's composure during her earlier public challenges had become a well-known example of how self-control and professionalism could turn difficult moments into opportunities for advancement. What stands out about your path, the journalist noted, is how you turned a major turning point into a foundation for long-term growth. Many people at that earlier event still speak highly of you. It was accurate. Several figures who had attended that gathering later became strong supporters of her company. Within months, Elegance Events had coordinated functions for many of those same families and organizations. Over the following years, her firm's reputation for precision and ethical standards spread beyond Seoul's social circles into national networks, creating opportunities across new regions. At 3:15, Gia left the office early for what mattered most, attending Taejun and Jaemin's scholarship ceremony, where they would be recognized among other outstanding students. At 12 years old, both twins had grown into remarkable young men whose paths reflected their distinct personalities while sharing a foundation of strong character and compassion. Taejun had been selected for the Korean National Youth Leadership Program, a prestigious initiative that identified and mentored young people with exceptional leadership potential. His natural charisma combined with genuine care for others had caught the attention of educators nationwide. He'd also been offered early admission opportunities from 3 top Korean universities, despite being only in middle school. Jaemin had won the National Middle School Creative Writing Championship and had just been accepted into a prestigious summer program at Seoul National University for gifted young writers, an honor typically reserved for high school students. His collection of short stories exploring family, resilience, and hope had been published in a literary magazine and was being considered for a young adult book publication. But more than their individual achievements, what made Gia proudest was their character. The boys had grown up understanding that true success meant using your gifts to lift others up, that kindness was more valuable than status, and that family loyalty was the foundation of everything else. The scholarship ceremony was held at the National Museum of Korea, in an auditorium filled with parents, educators, and community leaders. Gia found her seat in the front section, where a small placard reserved her spot as parent of honorees, Choi Tae-jun and Choi Jae-min. As both boys were called to the stage to receive their awards, Gia felt overwhelmed by pride and gratitude. These young men were becoming exactly the kind of leaders Korea needed: intelligent without arrogance, successful without selfishness, strong without harshness. When the ceremony concluded, both boys rushed to their mother with genuine excitement. "Oma, did you see?" Taejun asked, his eyes shining. "They said Jaemin's essay about you was one of the best they've ever received. He's going to be such an amazing writer. And did you hear what Professor Kim said about Hyung's leadership project?" Jaemin added, beaming with pride for his brother. "He's going to change how young people think about community service." That evening, after celebrating at their favorite restaurant, still the same small galbi place in Seoul they'd been going to for years, despite now being able to afford anywhere in Korea, Jia tucked the boys into bed in their beautiful home overlooking Haeundae Beach. The house had evolved over the years from a symbol of financial security into a true sanctuary filled with photos of their journey, awards from the boys' achievements, and reminders of the life they'd built together through love and determination. "Oma," Jaemin said as she kissed his forehead, "can I ask you something?" Jia sat on the edge of his bed, recognizing his thoughtful tone. "Of course, Aegya, do you ever wonder what he thinks about now? Our father, I mean, now that he knows about us and what we've accomplished." It was a mature question that showed Jaemin's developing emotional intelligence. Sometimes, Jia admitted honestly, but not with anger or sadness anymore. Just curiosity about whether he's learned anything from his choices. Taejun appeared in the doorway in his pajamas. "Do you think he regrets what he did?" Jia considered carefully. "I think he probably does, yes. But regret only matters if it leads to genuine growth and change. I hope, for his sake, that he's becoming a better person. Not for us, we're complete without him, but for himself." "That's very kind of you, Oma," Jaemin said softly. "After everything he said to you, you still hope he becomes better." "Because holding on to anger would only hurt us," Jia replied, pulling both boys close as Taejun climbed onto the bed. "We built something beautiful by focusing on love and growth instead of bitterness and revenge. That's the real victory, not that he lost things, but that we gained everything that truly matters." Taejun nodded thoughtfully. "We learned something important from all this, didn't we? That people's opinions of us don't define our worth. Our choices and our character define our worth." "Exactly," Jia said, her heart swelling with pride at their wisdom. "You two have taught me as much as I've taught you. You've shown me what real strength looks like, not proving others wrong, but proving yourself right about what matters most." As Jia turned off the lights and stepped into her room, she reviewed the 12-year timeline that had reshaped her entire existence. 12 years earlier, she had been defeated, uncertain, and convinced she had no value. Tonight, she stood as the CEO of a growing company, the mother of 2 accomplished sons, and a respected figure in the Korean business community. Her success was not built on revenge. It was built on resilience, precision, and long-term consistency. At the window, overlooking the calm reflection of Gwangali Beach, Jia allowed a single thought of Minho to surface. Reports within the business sector said he was working again quietly, responsibly rebuilding from the foundation he once ignored. The information gave her clarity, not emotion. His results were his responsibility. Her progress was her own. Minho had pursued recognition. Jia had pursued purpose. One collapsed, the other expanded. Her worth had never depended on anyone's judgment. It was a structure she designed through focus, courage, and disciplined love. Tomorrow's schedule was full. Taejun would lead a student mentorship program. Jaemin would meet his writing mentor to review his manuscript. Jia herself would consult with an international client planning a scholarship gala across Asia. Her calendar was balanced, her home stable, her company growing. Every result was measurable, traceable, and self-earned. The woman who once doubted her own value no longer existed. In her place stood Yoon Jia, executive, mother, innovator, and proof that personal rebuilding is stronger than external validation. Across Seoul, Choi Min-ho continued his process of correction, learning that success without awareness eventually resets itself. Whether he would ever deserve to meet his sons again was uncertain, but that uncertainty no longer defined Jia's peace. Her future was defined by purpose, structure, and sustained growth. A family built on love, respect, and mutual support is stronger than any family bound together by obligation or expectation. And a life built on your own terms, according to your own values, is the only life worth living. As Gia drifted off to sleep, her last thought was one of profound gratitude, not for Minho's absence, but for the strength his abandonment had forced her to discover within herself. She had been told she was nothing. She had proven she was everything. And that made all the difference. Epilogue. 5 years later. The invitation was simple and elegant cream-colored paper with beautiful calligraphy. You are invited to celebrate the grand opening of the Yoon Jia Foundation for Single Parents Supporting Education, Business Development, and Family Wellness. Minho held the invitation in his hands, reading it for the third time. 5 years had passed since his wedding that never was. 5 years of humble work, genuine growth, and slowly rebuilding a life based on different values. He had not been invited personally. The invitation had come to Park and Associates, where he was now a respected senior partner, known for his integrity and mentorship of younger developers. Looking at Gia's name on the invitation, Minho felt a complex mixture of emotions: profound regret for his past choices, genuine happiness for her success, and quiet acceptance of the life he now led. He would not attend the opening. His presence would serve no purpose except to possibly cause discomfort for Gia and her sons. They had built something extraordinary without him, and the kindest thing he could do was continue to respect that distance. But he would make a donation to the foundation, anonymous, substantial, and given not to seek forgiveness or recognition, but simply because it was the right thing to do. Some mistakes cannot be undone. Some choices cannot be taken back. All we can do is learn, grow, and hope that we become people worthy of the second chances life sometimes offers. Minho set down the invitation and returned to his work, carrying with him the quiet knowledge that real redemption isn't about grand gestures or dramatic transformations. It's about showing up every day, doing good work, treating people with respect, and hoping that slowly, steadily, you become someone better than who you were. Meanwhile, across Seoul, Yoon Jia stood in the beautiful new headquarters of her foundation, surrounded by her sons now 17 years old and preparing to enter university, and the hundreds of families her organization would help. She had never forgotten where she came from. She had never forgotten the struggle, the fear, the nights of wondering if she was strong enough. And now, she would make sure that other parents facing similar challenges would have support, resources, and hope. Because that was what real success looked like: not proving others wrong, but lifting others up. Not seeking revenge, but creating opportunity. Not dwelling on the past, but building a better future. Tae-jun and Jae-min stood beside their mother as she cut the ribbon, their faces full of pride and love. They had never needed the father who abandoned them. They had their Oma, and she had always been more than enough. Please subscribe after watching. Thank you for following this story to the end.